special series, Women in Cancer, What Your Doctor Isn't Telling You. It is devastating news when your doctor reveals that you've got cancer. They can tell you how they're going to treat it, but they might not be able to explain how to break it to your kids. NBC's chief medical correspondent, Dr. Nancy Snyderman, recently met Zoe Handler, Louisa McGregor, and Julie Silver, three moms who shared their family's experiences.
My very first thought was, who will care for her if I don't survive this?
So you went through your first round of chemo, and she didn't know.
She was 6 at the time. I didn't want to upset her. So after my second treatment, I lost all of my hair. And I explained to her that I was taking some powerful medication, and she asked me why. I said, Mommy has breast cancer.
My husband actually told my son, the minute I said the word cancer to my daughter, she put her head into the couch and started to cry. And I knew the big thing with her would be the hair loss. It really started to fall out, so I said, I'm going to up the block and have a barber just shave it. And my kids, I remember being in the shower right before that, and they said, don't do it, don't shave it, don't. They were very upset over it. I said, no, the cancer can't have power over me. The hair is going, that's it.
Take control.
And I took control.
Julie, how about you? How'd you tell your kids?
It's very hard to remember everything because there's so much fear and stress, and you're in such a crisis mode.
Just to say, do things speed up, or does life go into slow motion?
Maybe a little of both. Yeah, both. I sat them down individually. My 3-year-old didn't really understand anything. She just didn't really get it. But at one point, she said to me when I was bald, she said, Mommy, you don't look pretty anymore.
Well, Julie's youngest child, Anna, was too young to recall much of what was happening. The older children, Alex and Emily, remember the time vividly.
She sat me down and said, I got to tell you something. I have cancer. I didn't feel frightened or scared. I felt very sad because I really didn't want my mom to have to go through that.
She ended up missing my first school play because that was the night of her surgery. I started crying a lot more because I was upset about everything that was happening.
This story had a happy ending, though. Their mom survived her bout with cancer. As the family began to pick up the pieces, the kids chronicled their pain and healing in a book called Our Mom is Getting Better, published by the American Cancer Society.
I did both of these things.
Mom tells us that cancer is a terrible disease, and it hurts people a lot. But she also says that people who have had cancer can recover.
They wrote that if the cancer comes back, the doctors will help my mom again. And that's what's true.
Have the kids asked to go with you for any treatments, or have you taken them?
I just took them last week.
Were they scared?
Yeah, they did get to see, this is where Mama gets her medicine.
I never invited my daughter with me. In fact, I asked her once, and she politely told me no thanks.
Can you foresee a question that your child would ask you that you would decide not to handle?
Mom, will you die?
Has that happened?
It hasn't happened.
And if it were to happen?
And I would say I'm doing everything in my power. Doctors are doing everything in their power. And we have faith. Do some people die of cancer? Yes. But we're not going to go there.
Is there ever a time to lie?
There's definitely times to withhold information, but not to lie.
I think that it was very important for me to put on a strong front for her. The last thing I wanted to leave her was that strength, that she had a mother that got up and put her lipstick on and carried her purse and kept it moving,
I want to thank you all today. It really means a lot for you to share this part of your life.
Louisa M is a licensed clinical social worker with the Fox Chase Cancer Center in Pennsylvania. Good morning to you. As hard as it is when you get that diagnosis that you have cancer, you believe that it's important to tell your family as soon as possible.
I think it's essential because children really are very great observers of what's going on, so they know something's happening. You can't hide the whispered phone calls and the anxiety that you feel, so if you don't give them information, they'll make up a story that could be actually worse.
But do you say something to the 5-year-old that's different than what you might say to the 15-year-old? It has to be age appropriate, right?
Definitely. You have to stay with their attention span too, and the tone and reassuring manner that you use when you're talking to children can go a long way to helping them to handle the information that you're giving them.
And what happens when your child, or if your child asks that question, are you going to die?
I think, as the women showed in the segment before, it's important to answer that question honestly and hopefully. It depends on what the truth is about the situation. So you could say some people die of this cancer. I'm not planning to do that. I'm going to do everything in my power to do what the doctors ask me to do to fight this, and I expect to get well.
I know in our family, it was my husband who had cancer, and we gathered the kids to tell them the truth. And at the time, my middle guy was 8. He asked, "Are you going to die?" My husband said, "I don't think so." And this is December. And then the next question was, "Well, am I still going to get my Christmas present?" So he said, "Sure." He ran out of the room, and we realized at the time that probably was the best thing. They just need some assurance and to be in on it as well, on the truth.
They need to feel a part of the family and everything that's happening in your family. This is their family too, and including them and involving them in some of the problem solving that goes on makes them feel important and useful and less isolated.
Is it important for you to share your feelings? If you're feeling afraid, is it important to let your kids know that?
I think it really helps children for you to model what feelings are. You know, I'm feeling sad. I might feel grumpy because of the treatment. I don't like this situation. We don't always have to like everything that we have to face in life, but we're helping kids have a good role model for how to handle life's problems.
You also say that it's important for everybody to sort of accentuate the positive, which is often hard to find at a time like that.
Well, I think it can be hard to find, but you want kids to know that it's okay to laugh and play and have fun in the midst of some turmoil that's happening. We don't want people to think that they can't enjoy the good times that are happening, because good times happen in the midst of a crisis.
And for people who are facing this now, there are some resources out there to help them.
There are resources. There are, the American Cancer Society has a number of things. The wellness communities have good support groups. Gilda's Club is another organization. Cancer Care is a great organization for information.
And ultimately, everybody has to remember that illness is a family affair.
It definitely is. And the love, you're still a family, the love stays strong.
Okay, Luna Chenoweth, thank you so much.
Thank you.
Still ahead, more help for your kids in dealing with that back-to-school stress that so many of them go through. All of that after your local news.